up? Hey, Sonia. Ta-da! What's up, my friends? What's happening out there in YouTube land? Rockin' Dave here from Southwest Florida. I'm on to readjust this cameras, guys. Sorry about that. There's my big hand in the way. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Saturday afternoon. Want to give a shout out to a belated happy birthday to Mr. Jim Geetrid. I saw Mr. Bruce up there. Thank you so much for tuning in, Mr. Bruce. Guitar Hack. Yeah, that tune is a workout, my friend. Mr. Guitar Hack says it's a workout. Now, that was actually just past 10 a.m. here. Oh, I need coffee. Well, here, you know what? And Groovy Girl, you need coffee, right? Well, this is from it's Allure Insurance Company. The lady was real nice that gave me the cup. It was at one of the, what do you call it, like the meet and greets, hobnobbing. Old Man Dan, what's happening, buddy? Yeah, West Coast Amenity. Hey, what's happening, man? Yeah, well, the lady, she was real nice. It was at one of the home, what do you call it, hobnobbing. So it's like the businesses down here in Cape Coral. And she said, yeah, go ahead and take one of the cups. And I said, you don't mind if I use it when I do my live chat? She says, no. She thought it was a brilliant idea. Hey, advertising my company. I said, well, you know, you're a nice lady. She tipped me nice. So, but you know what? Okay, my friends. So, and just before I started to go live, it started to rain a little bit. Down here at Mr. Showman Blues, so I'm going to readjust this, guys. Mr. Showman Blues could, you know, verify this. It's our rainy season down here, and wow, man, the sun will be shining, and all of a sudden, and it starts raining. And then 10 minutes later, it's dry, you know, like nothing happened. But yeah, when you said that this song is a workout, yeah. This was actually one of, I want to say, if it wasn't the first song I learned how to play with that type of rhythm, maybe it was the second, or maybe, you know, it's side by side. The other song was Pinball Wizard. Let's see if I could play this, you know. Well, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I should maybe. And then with this song, Long Train Running, it's the rhythm. Now, the syncopated rhythms I'm adding in myself. And I'm sure other guitarists who play that live would do the same thing, right? When it's live, if you ever notice, you can watch your favorite artists when they play live, they will always alter things a little bit because you're in that live moment and you're just getting that feedback from the audience, even if the audience's back is turned to you, like some of the clubs. You just have fun with it. And Mr. Adam EVH, thank you for tuning in. You were the first one that tuned in. You rock, my friend. And yeah, I was talking with Deb about getting on your show when we're ready for that. When I think you'll have in a couple weeks. And Deb said, "Oh yeah, she'd be honored." Deb, my wife says she's a smart girl, very smart girl, but she'll have all the answers, not me. But what I was gonna say is, with that type of rhythm, it was probably when I was teaching up in Illinois, it was one of the most asked questions I've had was how do you do that? It's not just a rhythm. Yeah, we got Mr. EJ's Guitar and Music Channel. What's happening, Mr. EJ? I don't want to go off on tangents, but I'll make sure I give a shout out to everybody. Okay, so the rhythm is, I would tell people, have a real relaxed wrist. One of the best ways to do it is just mute the strings so you get used to the. And the other secret would be the tip of your pick. I use these larger picks, so sorry guys. When you're going downwards, have the tip facing up and you come back up. Kind of alter the tip of the pick so it's downwards, so when you go up, it's like a sweeping motion. That's basically what it is. If you have to do it with a metronome, nice and easy, eventually things will become second nature. But it's the syncopated rhythms, That's not syncopated really. Here comes the syncopation. That's speeding up. Very hot day, yeah. You guys are in Texas. I tell you what, even Ben Coombs said he's had some hot days up in Canada. So I mean, it's everywhere. There's some parts in the Midwest that's actually hotter than down here in Florida. The thing is, we get the rain, and when it rains, everything grows and it grows large. We got big flying cockroaches. The alligators get bigger. They call them palmetto bugs. They don't bite you or anything, not that I know of. They're like this, that big. They're just ugly looking. Deb says, mid-hundreds here, Sonia. Wow. Now I know you're in Texas. We were almost gonna move down to Texas. Now, we love Texas. We done quite a few shows down in Texas. It's hard to do. Sounds cool. Yeah, Guitar Hack. Yeah, it can be real hard to do. You know what? Honestly, guys, this technique is harder than, shredding with scales. Because basically, is, if a person wants to learn speed burst, one way, yeah, Austin rocks, EJ's guitars, is a single string, that's when you have to change to the next string that it gets like, that's difficult, but once you get the hang of it, it's, it's a lot simpler than these rhythms. Okay, or, if you get the out of phase sound. And a lot of your funk rhythms will have this where I call it a single string rhythm, choppy rhythm, and the index finger is actually pushing down on one string. The flesh of this finger mutes the other strings, and I take my middle finger and part of my other fingers and just mute the top strings. So here I'm on my 10th fret on my G string, and I'm playing my F note right there. Oh, I can't seem to, yeah. The best way to do this, guys, if you want to learn how to do this rhythm, is take rhythms that are comfortable for you to play and try to make them sound as cool as possible, And I think what happens, and this method even works when you're trying to learn how to shred, but right away you can't, and you love the sensation of the speed. But you know, it's like anything else. You have to learn to walk before you could run. Um, Try to slow it down and make that sound cool. And what happens is you get used to the sensation of the slow pattern sounding just totally kick ass, and you start to get into it. That eventually you'll start to learn how to speed things up, and you'll have control. And then some people will say, you know what, I'd rather just play slow than fast, and I just like the way that sounds, you know. Um, and I'm not saying when you learn how to play fast, it is good to kind of learn the sensation of speed, and you're going to be tripping and falling, but at least you'll understand what that momentum feels like. But if you spend too much time with that, then here comes the sloppy techniques and the loss of control. So it is like it's a catch-22. You gotta play slow to understand to play fast. And I know there's people that will disagree with that statement. And what I'm saying is the reason why you play slow is so you get as much control over the instrument. Then you work on the speed burst so that now you can understand that sensation of speed. But if you get so lost in that sensation of speed that you lose control, then here comes the bad habits. And then what happens, a long duration of time starts to build up, and you got bad habits. Now, try to break bad habits if you've been playing 6, 7, 10 years. Now it's frustrating. It's real frustrating. And I was 6 years into my playing before I really worked on my picking technique. Because all my friends, when I would ask them a question, not all of them, I had a lot of good friends, but you know, we're young, we're teenagers, you know, who cares? Look cool, you know, as long as you look cool, you get the girls, no one cares. But I cared. I wanted to be good at my craft. You know, that was the difference. And so when I learned about the sensation of playing slowly and accurately, and then if you view it like if someone studies Tai Chi and they start learning the motions and how to control each motion, it's the control factor that you want. So that now, when you do speed things up, you have that much more control. You can do it with a cleaner sound. Um, a little sloppy right there. You know, I could do this a lot quicker on my acoustic guitars because the string tension's tighter. Plus, the notes are very staccato. They're not like on an electric guitar. You got sustain. Even though I got the clean channel on. Okay, so another thing that I do is when my warm-up exercises and to maintain my picking exercise, what I do is real simple 4-finger exercise. And it's like doing 16th notes. Let's see. Take care, everyone. Go grocery shopping. Hey, thank you so much, Mr. Bruce. I know about grocery shopping. You know what? Everyone's got to do it, my friends. Name me one person that doesn't. Right? Well, you don't understand. I'm going to have my chauffeur do it. I don't have a chauffeur. I got me, you know. My wife does a lot for me, you know. And I got to do a lot for her. Right? She puts in a lot of hours. So, during the week, I'll, do my grocery shopping. Yeah. Gotta eat. That's right, Mr. Bruce. Let me tell you something, man. You gotta eat. When, speaking of eating, and I'll get back into showing what my exercise little routine is. We came down here, let's see, we bought the Hughes and Kettner amp down in Port Richey, Florida. And this is early 2000s. And that was the second time we were here. Now, that's when we met Bo Diddley. And Bo Diddley was doing a guitar clinic at Encore Music in Port Richey, Florida. And he told us a musician's steak is a hot dog. I like that. He's so right. Alright, Guitar Hack, you have a great day, my friends. You guys gotta go. Totally understand, man. Life beckons. But the first time we came down here, and then I want to show you what my little picking exercises are, is this guitar right here. This is the Camelot guitar. And remember I said it's almost like medieval looking, kind of, The headstock, some people might say, oh, it looks like a G&L. Okay. So this was the guitar that we would get the endorsement deal from, and let's see. This is early 2000s, and the band Slaughter, they were endorsing this company. You might see some scratches right here. Yeah, right there. That's the result of my fingernails. Because, as you know, I do classical guitar. Those little holes you see right here, these little pinholes right here, that's when I had my Roland guitar synth, and I screwed that to the body. If you notice, and I hope I'm not, blinding anybody with this, look at the bridge saddles. Those bridge saddles they're rollers. So the string, they go over these little rollers. That same concept I put on my Gibson Les Paul. With the Les Paul bridge, of course, but instead of just a straight saddle, they're a roller. So, okay. So, and it's got the bird's eye maple. You can see that. Yeah, like a Kahler. You're right, EJ. I think the Kahler systems are great. Okay, so, it's fairly good bird's eye maple. Back of the neck, you could really see, it's a headstock and everything. That's the back. It's got the Schaller locking tuners, and then sorry guys, that's the company. Camelot guitars. This model is called the First Night, even though it's backwards, right? I'll tell you what's nice is the output jack on this guitar never gets loose, man. This guy that was building this guitar, he kept that in mind, and my toggle switch never gets loose. Real, a long screw with extra locking washers, because see, he thinks, when you pick up your guitar out of the case, you're going to plug it in, you're going to unplug it, plug it in, plug it in. You go back and forth. I don't really do what's called the kill switch, but you go back and forth between neck and bridge pickup, right? So, mechanical, anything mechanical that's getting used a lot will wear down. So that's the first time we were down in Florida. Okay, so now, what I was going to say about my picking technique and 16th notes. Anywhere on a fretboard you could do this. It literally is just doing this. Maybe I'll do a little volume. See, I have to get used to these light strings because I'm so used to tighter tension. But you know what I'll do? I'll just work with this, and I'll listen to music, because I've got like an internal clock. I know what my timing's gonna be. Sometimes I'll speed it up, sometimes I'll slow it down. And I'll do that maybe I'll listen to a song 5 minutes, standing up, going over my drills to keep my hand in shape, and then it's something that has worked for me. And when I do my scales, a lot of times I'll do like partial scales, and I'll just do a little bit certain patterns. And sometimes I'll do it nice and slow. Almost like if I want to move my fingers slow. Where I'm trying to get each note equal value. And try to make it as musical as possible. Because nothing worse than, me personally, I don't like just the continuing shredding, and I don't want to say a break, but nothing that is musically, it's like talking. It's like a person that just talks and doesn't really say much. For me, that's not my thing. I like the speed bursts and I like the melodies and all points in between. But the rhythms is what I would always get a lot of questions from, And that song in particular, obviously, coming out the gate is, Okay, so, now, that version we got off of, I think, Guitar Backing Tracks. Sometimes I'll take the stuff if we're gonna do, we got our show tonight and we'll see if we can work with it and that. Instead of me sitting here and then starting to take every cover song and then dissect it and rearrange it, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. There are times I like to do that, But it's interesting what's been going on, and I know Joe Winch, our good friend out there, great guy, great guitar player, Joe Winch from the Joe Winch Project, had said the same thing. There's some certain songs he goes to put up on YouTube, and boom, psh, that's it. You just play one note, and next thing you know, done, deleted, obsolete, because they lost. The industry has been losing money, so they're recouping everything. Do it with the covers. And what's really kind of like a blessing in disguise, if you're a creative musician, this opens up the floodgates to say, okay, I got my originals, or I'm working on new material, and I want to just start to spotlight it. And then here is the catch-22 on that equation. People say, well, no, you got to do covers because people want to hear stuff that they know, and I understand that. But if you had to pay to play a cover song, and then you had to tell the audience, okay, guys, I'm gonna play your favorite song, but now I need a $1.50. Will you guys pitch in and give me $1.50? They'll look at you, huh? Because you don't own the song, you don't own the performance rights to it. So if they want to do that, this actually happened to us the last gig we did, or one of the last gigs we did up in Illinois. We went to the place that we used to do our open mics at, and then we used to do some shows there. And the lady, the owner, she asked me if we had original music. And I said, well, yeah, you don't mind playing it? I said, of course not. I'd rather do originals than covers, So she said the reason being is that it was a guy from BMI that came in, and it was, just sat there, just, I guess he was dressed in a t-shirt, whatever. He wasn't just like the Men in Black, He comes in, and he asked her, he was eating a sandwich, because it was a bar and grill, and he asked her if she had bands here, play here, and she was, oh yeah, because she didn't know who the guy was. And that's when the guy said who he was, and I guess he showed her his credentials and that, and then said that, you're going to have to start paying us, or, paying the organization for the covers. And I guess he left, and she's like, oh crap, and then I guess he called a week later or whatever it was, he did a follow-up call, and she told me, when he called me back, I told him we don't have bands anymore. We stopped having bands. And that's when she said, Dave, do you have originals? So there's things that is going on out there. And I'm not trying to discourage people, from going out and playing and doing covers and whatnot. Just be aware of that, because I know Joe Winch had mentioned that. And, Joe's just putting up videos of him playing. The next thing you know, he got notified and shut down and can't do this. And I thought he said something about he did the guitar solo from Stairway to Heaven, and it almost sounded like he had it note for note, and boy, he was so proud of it, puts it up, and just I'm figuratively speaking now, he hits the send button, and as he hits the send button, the invisible claw catches it, boom, it's like a home run, caught it, you're out, dude. You know what I mean? And in all fairness, we do not own these songs. It'd be like if I open up a restaurant and use the same name of the restaurant where I play at, and I go across, they could come after me. That's only fair, right? Now, if you want to get their permission, go ahead. But where, to me, personally, I see the godsend in this, and only for me, if they want to pick on me, that's fine. Don't pick on, let everyone else do what they want, is that it gives me back into my creativity, because I'm a very creative person. That's why, if you notice, when I do covers, yeah, BMI in Chicago are gangs. Yeah. That was a big student. Yeah. Well, I know Joe said the same thing, that he's got his music registered, and we got ours. We got ours registered. Mr. Jim Greetred, how are you? Happy birthday, my friend. Happy 21st. Rock and roll. All right. Oh, Mitch Heyman, how are you, my friend? Michael Bishop, sorry about that. Yo, what's up, Michael? How you doing, buddy? But I'm a very creative person, so when I work on covers, what I do is I focus on the structure of the song, which obviously is the rhythm section, and then melodies that stand out, and then even parts of the guitar solos that stand out. And well, what happens with me is that it's not that I couldn't learn the songs note for note. I sit there. Sometimes I learn songs quicker. Sometimes it takes me a while. It varies. But what happens with me, I start looking at the chord progression. I'm thinking, oh, I know in this chord progression, I could go like something like this. Or I could add a different melody. Or if I'm doing something, with my harmonizer. Even when I come up with rhythms, they just come out. And which is something my vocalists and I were starting to take on more, working on originals, writing and getting our music out. And it's just, I know I'm not the only guitarist out there or musician. We like to create our own music, and then, if I were to join a tribute band, then yeah, I would really work hard on nailing everything, because the idea of a tribute band is to pay homage to that artist as best as possible, But there's a reason why I don't join tribute bands. Is that's really not me. I really have my own identity, and I really like what I do, and I get in this creative, mindset, and I figure, well, it'd be kind of like this, guys. Going to a Van Halen concert and demanding that they play all covers and not their own music. Or when Van Halen was getting signed, and if Eddie Van Halen says, well, you know what, talks to his brother, Alex, let's do all these covers. We're going to get signed. Our first album, all covers. Our second album, all covers. We don't have to do originals. I mean, every musician always aspires to get their music out. At some point, you have to. Now, when people will say to me, all right, here's the covers versus the originals to get the gigs, well, yeah, you have to do some covers and that. But if you're wise out there, R2, R3 Locking Nut, if you're out there watching this, you'll testify to this, because you remember the Thirsty Whale. And back in the day, it was very popular for all of us metal bands to do our originals, and then maybe we'll do one or two covers, But it was very popular for us to do originals. And I really do miss those days, because that's when you shine as you. Because when I play these songs, even when I play the cover songs, I don't all of a sudden take my hand, screw my hand off, and I'm going to play Randy Rhoads. Yeah, Randy Rhoads' hand goes down here. It doesn't work that way, I'm me. And I always will see things from my point of view, and try to make it as good as possible. And not everyone's going to like it, and I understand that. But that's why I prefer doing originals over covers. And I have fun with the stuff that we do. I really do. It's a lot of fun. But I'm starting to see where things can get to the point where now we'll be forced to do more originals. Because of the copyright infringements, the performance rights. And then I would have to sit and talk with Mike if he would want. If it ever got to this point where we have to start paying to play these songs, they say, you know what, we build a good enough following. Let's just do our own music. The deal is, if you play well, that's gonna grab somebody's attention, because you could be playing the most popular song or a song that somebody requests, and let's say it's Freebird. And okay, yeah, we're getting some storms that froze up, but we're back again, my friends. So let's say we're going to do Freebird, right? And it's a long song, and the person that requests it, they're a die-hard Leonard Skinner fan, they love Freebird, they sit there at the bar, and they're listening to it, and they're getting into the song, and their friend sitting them next to them starts talking. What happens is, and I know you guys seen this hundreds of times playing out, they're fixed on you guys, watching you play. Their friend comes in, or there's a conversation about the last night's ball game, and all of a sudden their head goes from watching you to over here. Yeah, did you see how I hit that home run? Oh yeah, dude, did you see that tack? What was he thinking of that? Meanwhile, you're in the height of the guitar solo, the part that they requested. What happens is that distraction takes place. So they're not always going to be paying attention. So why not, try it with your own original material and see how that works, and then build on that. And again, if you play well, people they're gonna gravitate to it. At JJ's House of Jams, he mentioned something on one of the chats, and he said if you play it well, no matter what, you're gonna start getting people that's gonna like it. And actually, I think that's kind of gonna be a refreshing need now, because if you think about it, if you were to travel all over the United States, and even Hawaii, but let's say in Puerto Rico, let's say you just stay in the United States, and you go to every club that you possibly can go to see every cover band, chances are you're going to hear the same songs being played again and again and again and again, And then here's the thing, when you're always gigging, you don't have that much time to add new material, so it's like you're stuck playing all the same stuff over and over and over again, And you try to add new material now. But the point is that it's kind of refreshing to hear something new. Oh, does it look better, guys? Absolute mayhem. Thanks, my friend. Well, you know what? It's starting to cloud up out there. It's Florida's kind of a weird state, like at this time of year, man, because we get these storms down here, and it's like rainy season. Next thing you know, it interferes with everything. Especially the lightning storms. Holy crap, man! I've never seen so much lightning in my life, But yeah, so the covers versus the originals, it's always a catch-22, and you just try to do the best you can with what you have, and try to make things sound good. Now, I think somewhere in my loop pedal, I have to find it now. Nope. So I did a version of Freebird, and let's see. Sorry about this, guys. You hear this clicking? This is the clicking of the foot switches on the Digitech, the loop pedal. Okay, all right. So now I'll turn this backing volume up a little bit so you can hear this. And what I'm going to do is play my intro. I want to make sure it's not too. Okay, so. Well, actually, this is what I got. You know how Freebird starts, right? I kind of altered it a little bit. It's just for the sake of someone requesting it. So it's just right from the drum pattern from the Digitech right into my loop pedal. But this is basically what it is. So let me explain how I did this. It's just like my version of this. I'm going to go back into what would be part 3. Now, this is what's really cool with these loop pedals. Um, well, actually, I'm going to play, I won't play along with it so you guys could hear how I'm layering all this and how I'm going from one song. Hey, thank you so much, Groovy Groovy. Thank you. um, this is how I take songs with the Jamman Stereo, that big blue pedal. You know, actually, this is what it is. I got like 4 of these things as in my backup. These things. What's really cool with this is that part 1 is your intro. Oh, wait a minute, sorry guys. That's my intro. Now, there's a part where it will repeat F, C, and D. Just before the solo section. I hit my loop up. My number's flashing. It's telling me to go to my next loop. Smooth transition. It takes a while to get used to this, but once you get used to this, boom, it's great. Now, I had to alter this a little bit, but that's okay. And my timing's a little bit different because it's my arrangement of this song. If you can hear the bass, I'm laying the bass down with this. Now, we do have a bass guitar, and I haven't used it in a while, but if I had to, I do have that option. So, and I just had it to stop where I could stop on G. Now, if I wanted to take one more loop and then come in with my drum machine and like hit a flam with the ride cymbal and that, I do have that option. But you see, there's a little bit of work that's involved, and so for situations like this, I just try to make it as simple as possible because for me personally, and this goes back to the covers versus the originals, when I sit down and I start doing the writing or arranging on something, then my mind starts to wander, and it doesn't wander about anything else. It starts to wander on the progression I'm working, and then I start looking at my fretboard and I got a gazillion ideas. It's like almost instantly this happens to me, and sometimes I like the ideas I come with, sometimes I don't, you know. But it's one way of being able to help a person with writing music. So if there's people out there that says, Steve, you know what's the secret on writing originals? You know, I've read this book, or I've listened to this person speak on this subject matter, and I went to a college. I did a college course in composing and that, and all that is really good, you know. But if you're going to be a performer and you're going to start doing these clubs, well, even if you're not good, let's say you're going to start targeting theaters, okay? If you have a good performance, and it's your performance, it's your vision, it's what you want to portray to the audience, as long as it looks like it is good, then honestly, it is good, because everything really is opinionated, and you could get people that are like what you do. There's people that don't like what you do. Back in Chicago, I think they were in Vegas too. And I know they're everywhere. The Blue Man Group. Some people thought it was stupid. Some people thought, wow, this is cool. Deb and I saw the Blue Man Group in Vegas in 2004 or 2006 or something like that. Thought it was cool. Just a couple weeks ago, no, last week, we went to see Circus Soleil, their program called Crystal, and it was really cool. And of course, we met some of the cast members when was about last November when I was playing at the restaurant. They just happened to come in. A tour bus pulls up, and there they are. And I'm sitting right next to these people, talking with them. And one's a guitar player, and then one guy that does he was doing some of the tricks with the skate where he was hanging upside down. I remember talking with him and the girl that was doing all the acts. So I mean, but the point is that these are creative people that are putting on a show, and they're taking a chance, and then let's say, okay, we know everyone's not going to like us, but we do know that there is going to be people like us. So I guess basically what I'm saying is, if a person is on the top of the fence and they want to start writing, go ahead, start doing that. And you're going to have some things you like and some things you don't like. But the more you hold yourself back thinking that you got to have the perfect this, the perfect that, I'm going to tell you right now, time's going to go by. And then you're going to look back and say, damn, I wish I would have tried it. You know? I had a friend of mine that, he was, and he wanted to get everything as perfect as possible. And of course, we all try that, But if you become so anal about it that you get nothing done, what happens is a duration of time goes by and you start to reflect and you look back and like, damn, I should have done something, because this is what happens. And I guarantee, no matter who it is you meet, you ask them. If let's say, because the popularity of EVH gear, so you go to an NAMM show or you go to a guitar trade show, you meet Eddie Van Halen, and you start asking him questions. And he might say something to the fact, well, I look back at it. Now I look back, yeah, I did like Van Halen 1 and 2, but in the mid part of my career, I didn't like it, But now I kind of like it again. And, oh, no, maybe 5 years from now, no, it's not so. It's always going to be like this. So you can't let that be the roadblock that stands in your way. Because I guarantee, my friends, you're going to have, some people are going to like it, some people are not going to like it. That's just life. But the tools, again, that I use that helps me is the Digitech products, because it's got the stuff built in and it works for me. I know there's a lot of other products out there too. Use everything to your advantage and just give it that chance, I think it's a great time to be a musician with YouTube, Now, I want to say something, Joe Wentz, when I got back from our gig last night, and I was able to, jump on the chat real quick, and Joe said, yeah, I think something to the fact that, yeah, if they were to play at the Taj Mahal or something, yeah, he'd be able to do it and that, and then because he asked me where I played at, and I made joke and says, oh, just got done playing at the White House. Well, the fact of the matter is they do have performers play at the White House. Now, I have not typed in for different performers, but I've done this where I typed in for classical guitarists, and the late great Andres Segovia played the White House. There's videos of him out there, and of course he was like in his 80s when he did the White House gig. And Sharon Isbin, who's a classical guitarist, there's a video of her playing. She played there when Obama was president, because I remember the panning, and she's sitting there playing. So they do have performers, and as close to that as we've gotten, because we haven't tried. I haven't said, oh, I want to play at the White House, blah, 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 let's try this, and I'm sure we can, and we'll be on a rotation and waiting list, and then of course they check your background. But we did a show for NATO, and that was real interesting. So these places that I played at, I've played at really exclusive places that were extremely elegant, and one of them we played at was Trump Towers, downtown Chicago, and then we played at some of these like Botanica Gardens, where it's just like it looks like a. And then we did play in movie theaters or like theaters and that, and for all types of events. And then I'll play at a place that some people will call a dive bar, and I don't like saying that about people's businesses, because if they're kind enough to open up the doors to let me play, then I'll treat their place like it. Boom, this is the Taj Mahal, or this is the Colosseum in Rome. This is the happening place. Because I simply just love to play, and I think that is another secret to get your originals out there. Whether it's your originals or your covers, but especially originals, because it always seems that is the hard thing to do. Mitch Heyman, how are you, my friend? Thank you so much for tuning in, buddy. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I think that's the hardest thing, is that what holds people back from just plowing through and giving it that shot is the rejection that they might feel, or they might receive a rejection, or no, you can't do originals, you have to do this, or no, you have to do that. Adam EVH also agrees with me on this one. The only two things you gotta do in life is pay taxes and die. That's it. Well, Dave, I could get around paying taxes. Well, I'll tell you what, every time you buy anything, you're paying taxes. Mr. Ed Dana, good seeing you, my friend. I watched a little bit of the your class reunion, 1978. Absolutely loved it, man. I was a sophomore, 1970. Well, here's, how school is. Okay, so I was a freshman 1977, 1978. You know, in the schools in Chicago, you go back to school the first Wednesday after Labor Day. And then we go to like June 18th or something like that. So then, and then fall we start again. So 1978 to 1979, I was a sophomore. So depending on, you know, so if you graduated in the summer of 78, that means I was a freshman. We've lost. Oh, I'm gonna see that. Yeah, you know what, Ed? Yeah, I'm gonna see that again, my friend. Yeah, we've lost a lot of classmates the last few years. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ed. Yeah, you know what? We're all getting older, man, and I think you got a few years on me. And I say that with respect, because you don't look your age, man. You look well. See, this keeps us young, right? But it is sad. I mean, we've experienced that too. We got friends that are getting sick. I got friends that are a few years younger than me. I got some friends that are about 10 years younger than me. And when I hear that they passing away or they got cancer or something, it's so sad to hear that. You know. Oh, look at Dave. Ed Dana says I feel it. No, you're doing all right, my friend. You're doing all right, and I love the tone you get out of your guitar, man. You know, I think you had mentioned when I said about since you logged on the Fender Super Champ. People are calling it X2. I call it Fender Super Champ times 2. Marshman, what's happening, my friend? If I'm reading your name right, the type is real tiny. That's why I got the reading glasses on. Anyways, Mr. Ed Dana, the Fender Super Champ times 2. It's got a 10-inch speaker. It's I think it is a channel switching amp. They'll say it's like a hybrid of solid state and tubes, but really, what it is it has, I believe, two 6V6 groove tubes in it and one 12AX7 preamp tube. But when you said about any Fender tube amp, oh yeah, you're right, man. I love the punchy sound of the Marshalls and the 6505 Plus and all that. I mean, it's got a lot of muscle. But I also like the Blues Rock and the Fusion. So it's like for me, those two amps put together are great. Oh, you use the Blues Junior mostly. Yeah, you got a great tone out of that amp, man. Just love it, you know. And just, let's see. I'm 62 and a half. But yeah, you know what is very sad. You know, we're getting to the point where we're seeing our friends, you know, pass away, and it's heartbreaking because that's when you start to realize how the value of life, you know. And I don't want to go on and mean Mr. Philosopher or anything like that because you know everyone's got their everyone's got experiences in life and everyone's got their perspective on life, you know. But that is true. You start to value things, and then when I hear these stories and about booking, you know, we were talking a little bit about booking. Let's see, well, no one okay, yeah, I know. About getting the booking the gigs, and see, this is when you start doing comparisons in life. Um, you know, the Rolling Stones. It's only rock and roll, but I like it. You know, and I like it too. Music is my life. You know. But honestly, Dave, you are still. Am I still in Chicago? I thought. Oh no! You know what? Maybe there's someone that looks like me. Yeah, we moved out of Chicago in July 28th. We relocated down here, so it was in July. In May, let's see. We did. I did this gig in Colorado, July 4th. It was actually a wedding gig in Estes Park. March we came down here, then we came back down here in June to buy the house because it was a estate sale, and then we relocated. But at Villa Park, no, I think it was you said Villa Park, the trade show. Let me see if I pull that back up. We did do a guitar show, but that was actually quite a few years ago in Villa Park. But yeah, no, to answer your question, oh, Joliet. So okay, so if you're in Joliet. Crest Hill is real close to Joliet. We used to play at a place called Bada Brew. And I had heard a friend of ours that's still down there, had said that yeah they're closing. We do shows at Bada Brew, which is in Crest Hill, which is in the Joliet area. Uh, R2R3 Locking Nut, how are you? We're doing a little jamming. Hey man, nothing wrong with doing a little jamming, my friend. You know. But so yeah, we would do shows at Bada Brew in Crest Hill, which is all part of like Joliet. We would do shows at Penny Road Pub up in South Barrington. We would do shows at Smiley Coogan's on Irving Park Road. There was a place called Uncle Snorky's, and of course, Thirsty Whale. And which is, I'm glad that you tuned in, R2R3, because I'm sure you remember the days where we would do original music and then a couple of covers, but originals, And what's going on with the whole thing? Okay, cool. I played St. Pub. Okay, yeah. Now there's a couple places that I played that are no more in existence back in Chicago, and I'd have to really think about the names because it was that far back. I would say early 1980s. And I just have to really sit and think because after time goes by and you continue to do all these shows, you just move forward with just life in general, and that's how it is. But let's see, yeah, getting the gigs. So, all right, there's a video I posted up that with these orbs, and I didn't notice this until the next day in the evening. My wife pulled it up and she says, "Look at this," and I know they're not bugs, and the reason why I'm going to say they're not bugs, a good problem to have with getting the guy. I know what you mean, yeah. But here's the thing with this. Down here in South Florida, we have these things, I guess they call no-see-ums. They're a bug. They're kind of like a mosquito. You don't see them, but all of a sudden, man, you scratching because something bit you. You can't see them. There was about 6. If it was 6, maybe it was one bug, sir, whatever it was, if it was a bug. At that point, let's say if it was one bug or it was 6, I would have gotten bitten at least one of those times. To get into that moose lodge, the door is like kind of off to a good distance, and they make sure it's closed because because they serve food, they want it to be clean. I guess they got health inspectors come down here big time, so make sure everything's clean, and they got the AC running. And the area when I first went to they didn't have the lights on, so she turns the lights on, and then she leaves them on for a little bit, and I'm walking through there, and so it was just weird to see this on the playback. So what is this, Okay, so I don't want to get on to Ghost Adventures or anything like that, because that could be another subject for another time. But that place was one of 11 places I stopped at that day to confirm gigs. And we didn't get anything locked in. It's just, it's slow season down here. So I have to do my follow-up calls. And maybe one of these days, before I go back to driving for the season in the morning, I will bring a video and ask to get the permission, just sit down, talking with the club owner, and just show you guys what exactly it is, how I try to negotiate getting a gig. I always like to talk with the owners, because the owners, it's their place, it's their paycheck. If I have to talk with a general manager, that's fine, or if there's a booking agent, that's fine. But I've dealt enough with people like that were not too good. Now, I'm not saying I've dealt with some that are very, very good and very, very fair, and God bless them. Anyone that is going to be factual, straightforward, and they don't have to be rude or anything. They'll just say, look, we're kind of filled up down here. We're not going to be booking until we start our booking for next year, 2019. We won't start booking until mid-November. And I had a guy, tell me that over the phone. And I says, well, I really appreciate your honesty in that, and I'll call back around mid-November. He says, and see, down here, they want to be fair with the musicians and then have a good working relationship with them. And I experienced that with the restaurant I play at. Right now, I'm every other Friday because of slow season. But when it does pick up, which is about another month or two, then boom, I'm back on every Friday. If they want. If not, that's fine. but I'm sure they will because they like me. Their customers like me. I'm easy to work with and that. So that's real important, guys. If you're easy to work with, man, that goes a long way, man. Long. And what I mean by easy to work with, meaning that if someone tells you to turn the volume down, they don't have to finish the statement. You're already turning the volume down on the guitar or on your amp or whatever it is, and you're being very polite and respectful to them. And they see that. Okay, we're back on live. Okay, yeah, so what happens is that they see that, and you start working out this good working relationship. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because last night on Joe Wentz's chat, they were kind of talking about that when I joined the chat later on, after I got home from the gig. And so what I probably will do is take, if I don't do it live, I'll do it on a video, and then I will post it so you guys can actually see. And, if they say, no, get out of here, you creep, then I guess everyone sees, get out of here, you creep, I won't bash anybody. I don't want to do that, I'll ask the permission, But usually everything is done very, very professional, so people could see exactly what it is getting the gigs. And if there's a little bit of rejection, sorry, we're not taking new submissions right now. It's good that people see all this, because then what happens is you get in tune to reality, and you don't get so lost in like fuzzy bunnies and balloons and everyone's got a trophy and stuff like that, because that's not reality. It makes you a stronger person, but it also brings you back down to good old terra firma earth, that this is how it really is. So that when people decide that they want to quit their day job and be a full-time musician, and then in that process they get all bummed out that they're not gigging, or they're not this, or their perception is, wow, you must be making a lot of money. Woo, that's not the reality. That's not the reality. It varies. Some places have a big budget, some places don't. Honestly, guys and gals out there, if a person wants to how can I say, assure that your potential of making good money, what would be the corporate gigs. And I'm not saying don't continue to chase getting signed or things of that nature, and I don't say that with disrespect. I say it with a lot of respect. But while you're waiting for that, look at every option that you have out there, because I'm going to tell you what the corporate gigs. What a corporate gig is when a company has a private function and they rent out a facility, whether it's a banquet hall, a country club, or they have it in their office, and they hire you as a musician to, usually it's background music, okay? You drop the contract, you could do your negotiating, they'll see if it's in their budget, but there are times that they've had a big budget and you get paid real good, then you get your tips, and if they like you and they want to extend it another hour, they'll ask you, what is your fee to play an extra hour, and let's say if you say $100, here's the $100. You could walk out of there with guaranteed money. You make a lot of contacts with people that have other functions, and you'd be surprised. You could do pretty damn good. You could do pretty damn good. We that was part of our road shows we would do. We would have all these corporate events, and they'd call us and like, oh wow, this guy's good. Let's get him in, And then here's our travel time, our expenses, and then here is our upfront price. And then if they come back, well, it's a little bit steep, could we negotiate? Okay, let's see how far we can negotiate. And if the negotiation goes from this to maybe down to here, and if it looks like, okay, I think we could handle this, and then what happens, and this has happened to me a lot, we come down a little bit of a notch, but then with the tips, now we're actually above more than our asking price, and we'd actually come out ahead. Part of it is, again, are you a good player? You don't have to be a shredder and play with your feet and your teeth, and as you're playing it's smoking and everything else. You don't have to do anything like that. Just sound good. And are you polite? When you walk in, are you there on time? Actually get there before. Do you follow every criteria that they ask? And if you do, and you're easy to work with, man, I guarantee you could be on the road for a while. Whether you're going cross country or to the next town, and then maybe next month you cross country, And then after that, you could be getting a lot of gigs, and it's guaranteed money. Because my wife would always drop the contracts. We would get a deposit, so that locks in that date, and so they don't lose that date. And we would either get paid at when we get there, or there are times people would pay me up front, or they pay the deposit, and then closer to the event, they'd see our track record has been solid, and then they'll just pay the whole thing. And next thing you know, we walk in there and we don't have to worry about chasing money because we're already paid. And then on top of it, we get tips. And then we get make connections with other businesses and other people. So you'd be surprised. You'd be real surprised. When I was in Illinois, there was a guy, I forget his name. He had a band. He had kind of like what do you call it, indie pop rock band. Oh, thank you so much, R2RC. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, it is what it is, And now, again, if you were to ask 10 other guitar players, you will get 10 other sides of the coin. And whether it's good or bad, it's still that other side of the coin, So there are all these options out there. And one of the options, this guy, his name was Ralph something. But he had an indie pop rock band in Chicago, and then he also had this gig where he was doing children's music. So, and I never asked him, I never really met the guy. I guess I could have if I wanted to. But my educated guess would be, okay, so if he's playing all the kindergarten places, the kinder cares and things of that nature, well, if you think how many of those places there are, right? And they have a day gig, and here comes all the kids. And he sits down and he plays all his children's music. The guy's making money. And I done one kind of, if you want to call it a children's gig, where I used to teach at. There was a Montessori school connected to the building. And I remember some of the kids came in and they sat and they kind of watched me play. And they were fascinated with my flamenco guitar playing because of the way my fingers would move and that. And flamenco music is very percussive. So they'd like to kind of jump around and get involved and all that. As a matter of fact, there was a lady that had a thing called Music Together, I think it was. And it was these kids, to get these kids together in a room, and I would talk about, preschool kids. And just if they grab a rattle and start to shake it, so they could get used to rhythm. And the whole point of this program was to introduce kids to rhythm, so that later on, if they wanted to have something in music, now they already understand rhythm because it's really very natural. But the point being made is that this is another option that people could have, and as well as teaching, But you see, like everything in music, it's always going to be fluctuating. And I know sometimes I might be repeating these things when I say them on different live chats. And part of it is because when I repeat it, is there might be someone new that they might see this video before they see any of the other videos. So I think, well, maybe it's kind of good to review some of it, because the reality is that you could be on the road, let's say for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's the end of the tour, and I'm not saying the well dries up, but then it's at the end of the tour. Okay, so I go back in the studio, write more material and that, but then when you're a signed band, you're working for a record company, and they'll have other bands. So then you come back and you do your recording or whatnot, and then guess what? Now the following year you might not go on tour, but guess what? Every first of the month you have bills that come in. At the end of the previous month, the first of the month, you know what I mean? Everyone's got bills to pay. So it's not like there's an endless supply of money. It's fluctuating. It always fluctuates. So you have to be wise about it. And part of that is spending your money. How you spend your money. So you have all these options. You could do like the kinder cares. I used to do the retirement homes, and they'd be during the day, and I get paid to do that, and then late at night, do some of my other shows. And it helps keep the boat floating. And although it's I'll tell you what, we're going to start to see an opening more and more of rock and metal guitars, because if you notice, there's been kind of like an absence, except on YouTube. But if you go out, next time you guys go out to a club, if you don't see a hard rock band or where it's very guitar driven, or if you don't go out, let's say, watch every music award and tell me how many times you see someone throwing a guitar around and just shredding away or it's a Metallica type band or some. Tell me how many times you've seen it on TV. Just regular network TV. What will eventually happen? It's definitely gonna come back in stronghold, and it might be as funny as it sounds. It might be done with the seniors, because when we play at the AmVets, you got people that are a lot older than me, and boy, they want to hear Van Halen. Man, I want to hear some rock and roll, man. I mean, I want to hear some rock and roll. You know, they want to hear, like the Marshalls are like, bring Yngwie's Marshalls in. Let's hear it all cranked up, man. We come from a loud generation, if you notice. Anyone who's like a teenager in the 50s, the cars were skinny, the muscle cars, 50s and the 60s, and then the amplifiers went from the little combo amps to the big stacks, that's the generation we're from. And there's people that are 10 to 20 years older than me that when I hear them request this, that man, I want to hear some kick-ass rock and metal, man. Now that's music. It's so weird for me to take, because when I started playing guitar, anyone that had gray hair back in 1974, well, if they had gray hair, they were old, right? So when you go back to their era, we're talking about 20s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, and this was evil looking. And what the hell do you want to play that? What a waste of time. What are you wasting your life for? Remember that one video? Twisted Sister, what do you want to do with your life? You're worthless and weak. It was that mindset back then. And a lot of you people know that when we started playing. That's how it was. Now, it's interesting. I got to share this story with you guys. Last night at the, let's see what I can do. At the gig I play at, the first guests that were there, this guy, he told me the name of his band he toured with. And I forgot the name of it. It was, they did kind of like Pink Floyd and Frank Zappa stuff. And then he said they did a 2-week tour with B.B. King, but the lineup, the stylistic lineup really didn't match too well. But he said that he was on tour with Tommy Two-Tone. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, Party would say, okay, yeah, Tim Ferger was saying that, yes, I work with a guy who's 67 years old who partied with Santana back in the day. Yeah, when we take that time span and we reverse it, this is what it was, So this guy I meet last night, his band toured with Tommy Two-Tone, and if you don't know that name, remember that song 8675309? I said, did you change your number to that? Yeah, I did. Just joking. But he did. He toured with them, and oh man, he was saying, even back then. Okay, yeah. Okay. Anyways, it froze up. Now it's back on. So this guy said, yeah, they would tour around in a tractor that they converted into a van, or something like that. It would burn oil. He'd make jokes that says, yeah, we're going mosquito killing, There'd be burning so much oil. So basically what he's saying is the luxuries of touring, what people think is a perception, but the reality is totally different. And we got talking about, it's a money thing out there. You want to break the code to the music business? Here's the code letters. MONEY. That is your code breaker. You're in control. No one can say a damn thing. It's your money. It's your show. And I know I've said that in the past, and there's going to be people that I disagree with. And there's people, if they got more of experience and more of an yeah, absolutely, put the comment in. Absolutely. Because none of this is to discourage anybody. But there is realities. And when him and I were talking, and he says, some of these young kids, they just, well, see, it's a different time now, but everyone's so naive that they're going to go after that person that they know they can make money off of versus someone that's a little bit more wiser. Because when you're wiser, now when you sit down before you sign that contract, here comes negotiating time. And anybody that wants to make a quick buck off of you, they don't have time to negotiate. It's yay or nay, or I'm down to the next one. Because they're going to sit there to realize, okay, if you're going to sit down and negotiate with me, that means you're going to want more money. It's instead of the percentage, it's, used to be like 50-50 percentage. Instead of 99 to 1, and who gets the 99, who gets the 1%, you know what I mean? Now it come down to a 60-40. Or first, anyone smart that will say, okay, 50-50. Let's start right here, It's like when you go to sell something. I want, let's say if I sell this, I want to get let's say if I want to get $400 for it. $400, right? Or best offer. Well, let's first talk $400. Cash at hand. Okay? And then, all right, Dave, how about 200? No, 400. You stay firm, but then what you start to see is there's a little bit of negotiating. And if really you'll be happy with 300, you might go down to 475. But you know what, or I mean 375. But you understand the point I'm making. So that's the exact same thing how it is with negotiating and all this. And I really don't want to get too much into this because this is an area that my wife, she's got this nailed. And she is the only person that I've ever met, because she had a sound company, so she's been in the business. Because we did construction doesn't mean we were never doing this, But she's got a lot of years, definitely, and a lot more wisdom on this. So when we're going to be guests on Adam EVH's Gigs and Gear. Gigs, gear, beer, and guitars, and everything else. You go for it, Adam. Classic cars and guitars, it's yours, man. I don't care. You do it. But anyways, yeah. And Deb, she's gonna break this down. And she's got a method, and I what her method is, I really don't know. As far as how she'll explain it. That's why I want her to explain it. But the bottom line is, what the conversation I was having with this guy is that I've said this before, and he spot on agreed. Have that backup system. Don't be ashamed if you got to have a day job or anything like that, guys. No, because even Joe Went said that he's shocked in how much musicians really make. And okay, so if you go on tour and it looks like, wow, okay, I might make 6 figures on this tour, starting out, not starting out, but as you're getting established, okay, is that gross or is that net? Because if you go, the bigger the production, the more money it's going to cost. And if you go from Florida all the way up to Seattle, Washington, let's start adding up the mileage. Let's start adding up the fuel costs. You always got to have insurance, the wear and tear in your vehicles, and that. So all this falls into the equation. And it's interesting how some people don't look at this, and that's what I mean. So don't be ashamed or bummed out that, oh man, I have to go back to work and maybe it's not really happening, or I'm a failed musician. No, you're not a failed musician. Only time a person is a failed musician is when they totally give up. And if they want to give up, they're just tired of it. Well, they're still not a failed musician because they gave it a shot. It's when you don't give it a shot. I guess I shouldn't say that because that's not really fair to say, But yeah, but so many times people they look at themselves like they failed, and it's like, no, And my wife always says it's like, if you're beating a dead horse, the horse is not coming back to life. But if you look at your options, how to go around the situation, and how do I get my music out there, and how do I do this? Again, the secret code, MONEY. And I know there's going to be people to disagree, and that's fine. I'm more than welcome to disagree. But name me one person that will gladly turn your money away, unless they just don't like you, and they just totally want to make a point. But they'll be cringing as you walk away because their hand will be going like this. Damn, but I could have got that. Oh, I could have worked out a deal with this guy. I didn't. It happens. It happens. But again, see, this is what with the covers versus the originals. If you want to do originals, fund it yourself. You might have to rent out the place. That's okay. If I know there's the pros and cons of the pay to play. Okay, so let's say it's a place that is a bar and grill, and they want you to pay to play, but they really have musicians coming and going. And it is a place that hires musicians. Well, then maybe you don't want to do the pay to play. Okay. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it, my friends. You know what? When I type something in, if I select music, message retracted, you actually hit the wrong thing. Like, damn, that's something I wanted to say. It was misspells or something. Yeah. What I was going to say is that, now that's if you want to get into local establishment that they advertise, yes, we have new entertainment, we're looking for bands, blah, 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 then in that respect, you shouldn't have to do the pay to play because they are advertising that they have entertainment and they are looking for bands, okay? But if it's a situation where you really want to get your music out there and you want to take this chance and you saved up enough money, so it's kind of like, here is my band account, okay? My music account here. And I got my money in the bank, so if something happens, but this is my allowance money. Let's see, I'm sorry. I made more money opening for my established friends than in bands of my own. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you see, that's a real good point because you see, there's a lot of people out here watching this that, you guys got a lot of experience playing this out. Okay, yeah. Yeah. But there are, let's say, back in Chicago, we got the House of Blues, and I know there's like red tape and that, but you see, if you want to play there, boom, I got the money, I'm going to rent out the place. You look at their schedule, you talk with the owner. I always insist on talking with the owner because that person really does have the final say because it is his or hers place. They do have the final say. I don't care if they got a manager, I don't care if they got a booking, it is their place. Their name is on the deed, their name is on the lease, or they own the building, or whatever, it is theirs. So honestly, they have that final say so. Okay, so in the negotiated price, and then if you look on their calendar, they have to open up, okay, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, or Mrs. So-and-so, I want to book my act on this date. How much of a deposit do I have to do? Here's the deposit, but let's draw up the contract. Here's the contract. You sign, I sign it, we're locked in. I did a show at the Field Museum, downtown Chicago. Deb and I were at this function. We got hired on, and it was, I forget exactly what it was called, but there was artists from all over the world at this function. It was on I think it was on Valentine's Day, and the Valentine's Day fell on a Monday, and the tickets. Deborah, I'm sorry, guys. How much was the tickets? Was that something like $200 or $260 or something like that? Remember that?
Yes, it was $260 a ticket.
Yeah, $260 a ticket, my friends. $260 per ticket. And I was one of the acts, and there's all these people from Pakistan, from India, from Dubai. I mean, you're talking about, it was all different types of acts, music acts. And it was on a Monday. And the turnout was decent, but it was not as what the producer expected. Okay? But now you gotta think. You got two things kind of going against you. Now, see, downtown Chicago is very open to a lot of multicultural, okay? In that respect, that's cool. But now we have Monday. The day after Monday is Tuesday, right? And people have to do this thing sometimes I call, don't tell me, work. I'm joking, guys, you know what I mean. And add to the equation, they have to get up the next day to go to work. Now we have a $260 ticket, okay? So that kind of eliminates who could afford to go to this function, who can't. But still, there wasn't as many people as he was planning on, and he booked it on that Monday. Part of the event was to honor Valentine's Day, but another part of it's on a Monday. It's an easier day to book than on the weekend. So I'm done with my performance, and I'm watching the other people play, and I noticed the head of security is at the watching, and I go up to this guy. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at the room we're in. We're in right where the dinosaurs are, at the big display at the Field Museum. And so I go up to the head of security, and I says, "Hey, you don't mind me asking you this question?" I said, "Just give me a ballpark figure. You don't have to give me exact numbers if you want, okay? If you want." I said, "How much does it cost to rent this room?" Like right now, how much is it? He told me $10,000. That's on a weekday, no chairs, no stage, no tables, no lights, just to rent the room. $10,000. Now that's at the Field Museum. So maybe it's 15 to 20,000 to rent House of Blues. So this is what I mean. You'll be up against some of these extremely high upfront costs. And if that's like way out of your financial league, well then you don't go there. You go to some of the other places where you could kind of work out where it's like maybe some places will be like $800. And if you could afford that, and if that's what you want, that's one way of doing this. And actually, what I mean by doing it this way, you could have 100% control of your show. You don't have to worry about, oh, I got to play this song that I can't stand listening to, but it's a cover and no one's going to like me. No, it's your show. You're in charge. You're in control. Your show. And I hope that kind of makes sense to people out there, where it doesn't discourage you, but at the same time, there is a way out. But it does cost money to do this. So don't get so down on yourself that you can't make a living as a musician. I've said this in, I think, my Wednesday chat. If you ask any successful business owner, if you say, hey, take me back to your startup days when you got your business, when you were starting your business, and chances are what they're going to tell you is that, well, to get my business up and going, I started here, but I could only open up shop from this time to that time because I still had my day job, because I still needed my steady source of income to come in, not only to pay my life expenses, just, cost of living, but now I had an extra expense because I had a storefront, I had a rent, I had my insurances, and, I couldn't afford employees, so I'd go from one job and then, go to my shop, and I could only open up for X amount of time until I could afford. Some people would take out loans. Be very careful of that. Make sure that you have that money, because every time you take a loan out, there's interest, So I'm not Mr. Know-It-All. See, this is the aspect where my wife will be able to share a wealth of information. And a lot of it's common sense. But when I would hear people get very depressed because they can't do anything with their music, well, if renting out a facility is out of your league, then if you get the gig at the local bar, take that chance. Incorporate your originals. Even if you have to do this, covers and then 2 originals, and then little by little start to gauge the audience response. What happens is when people see you're having fun, then they're going to have fun. I don't care. You could play the most popular Beatles song, but if you look like you don't like it and you're not having fun, they're going to sense that. And they're like, oh, okay. And you could be playing it absolutely perfect, and you got the mole haircut and everything going on, but you really are not putting that extra, that vibe to it that makes the song come alive. They're going to sense it. And then when they see Joe Blow, that, had a few drinks in him, that's hacking up the song, but he looks like he's having fun, and they'll go like him more. They'll like the band that sounds almost like him, but they don't really like what they're doing. And I know you guys have seen a lot of cover bands where they just look like they're tired, or they don't look like they like what they're doing. And if they would have asked me, well, Dave, what do you think? What do you think I should do? I would tell them, go ahead and take the chance with your own music. Or if you need to do a version of this cover, go ahead and take that chance. At least for one gig. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of gambling like that, and then to see what the audience response is. And if your surprise is that they like it, now you're onto something. And especially if this has been a consistent thing over and over and over. But at the same time, keep in mind you're gonna get some people that are not gonna like it, but don't let that bother you. If you start seeing this growth where people are liking it, that's telling you something. And I've experienced that a lot of times, when I would just take a chance and just play something and just put my heart to it. And I would get people asking me. I've had this happen to me so many times, and my wife could testify to this, where you get people ask me, Dave, how come you didn't make it yet? Well, what's going on? How come you're not, I don't see you on a bigger stage, or I don't see you here now. Well, see, it's more than just the talent. You do have people that have a little bit more control of a person's their outcome, and those are the people that sometimes, if I do a little bit, appears to be latching out to. it's only those people that call the opportunity chokers. You know, they grab you, they'll sign you and then they shelve you. Can't do anything. You're mine. You know. Those are the people I really don't like at all, and I'll find ways around them. Usually I like to go over them. You know, boom. And I don't mean that with any disrespect, because I've had friends that get so depressed they quit, and you know, they're real depressed because their boat didn't come sailing in when their boat can come sailing in if they fund it themselves. Take charge. Get rid of these people. Anybody that wants to stop you from progress, that's telling you something about that person. Yeah, but you don't understand, Dave. There's this person or that person. They have these connections, that connections. You make the connections. You step over them if you have to. If they're going to suppress you, because I'll tell you what, I would rather work a day job and support my music my way than following these people trying to tell me to make me beg and crawl and feel like nothing. But they're gonna like hold the almighty dollar and to see how high I'm gonna jump, and we'll get you at the house. Don't worry, or we'll get you at this place, or we'll get you at that place. You know, don't worry about it. I'll talk to the owner. I'll get myself in. You know, because I really do believe in there's dignity. You know, and I see this to a lot of musicians that they get themselves so frustrated. And when you figure out the secret code, it's like, okay, maybe life isn't that bad after all. And it really isn't. It really isn't, guys. You know. So again, the covers versus originals. Yeah, if you guys got good music, take that chance. You know. Again, what's so great about YouTube is that how many times I see people putting their stuff on YouTube that I think is great, and they'll say, well, you know, I really didn't do this and I really didn't do that, or maybe I can't shred, or I can't just play good. Just play good. I think what I'm going to start doing in some of my how-to-do videos or my Tech Talk in Tuesday, however I format it, but I'll let people know. I will start coming up with riffs and things that are not as hard to play, that maybe there's no shredding at all, but just sound cool, that people could say, hey, this sounds cool, I could play like this, and start to develop my technique. And then when all that, you know, the shredding comes in, when I got my ability and I got my control over the instrument, then yeah, I'll do that. Or if I don't want to do that, I just want to make it sound good. Because you could be the fastest guitar player in the world, and if you don't sound good, no one's going to listen to you. That's the facts, you know. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that as, you know, as a fact, you know. So, anyways, guys, again, I went blabbing on longer than I anticipated. I apologize, but I like to share this, you know, the things I go through with people. If it could help somebody, it's like, it makes me feel good, you know. I seen a video, and I'm gonna just keep this brief because I do have to wrap this up. This girl from England, her name is Mary Spender, and on her Tuesday talk, she was talking with this guy, and I apologize if I don't exactly know who the guy is, but I guess, you know, he played in a couple maybe punk rock bands or something. He was pretty, you know, established, and I think he's younger than me, but he's definitely older than her. And he told her about, you know, right now, what you think you don't have, because she said it's so cool, you got all these stories and all these experiences there, and he's told her, says it really does come over a course of time. Time is going to go by, and watch and see, you're going to have all these stories when you met this person and you met that person, and you remember when they were just local bands, and then all of a sudden now they're big time, but you remember them as back in the day when you were all local bands, you know. Hey, thanks so much, R2R3. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. So, anyways, guys, yeah, share your stories as much as you can, and it's all desiring to inspire people, you know. I tell you what, this is not the end, man. It's not dead. It's all perception, and we're probably on. We don't realize it. Maybe we're on the dawn of a new age coming, where, you know, the guitars could be right back in the forefront, and we're all gonna be again part of it again. So, anyways, guys, until tonight, we'll do our live streaming. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. You guys really rock, and you know, I always say this, you know, what Ben Coombs says, hold the doors of opportunity open. Always desire to inspire, my friends. This is all important. This is how good things come back to you. Karma really is, I believe in that. That does happen. Always keep it real. And you'll have more respect by keeping it real than if you're trying to BS people, right? Anyways, my friends, take care. We'll see you tonight. Rock on. Have a good afternoon. And God bless you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.